Definitely. Let's kind of recap what's going on now. If you are just joining us here, there has been an officer-involved shooting involving the Ogden Police Department. It happened about 12:14 today. That's when the calls came in of an officer down. This is happening at about Jackson Avenue and Harrop Street right there in Ogden. As that transpired, we learned that at least one officer was hit. And just within the last little bit, we have learned through the Fraternal Order Police that one officer who was hit has since died.
ABC4's Jordan Verdadero has been at the scene for the past few hours now. She's just going to join us live now. Jordan, what are you seeing? What are you hearing out there near where this happened?
Emily, Rick, we do know a very sad situation right now. An officer is confirmed to be dead. And the scene right now is pretty quiet. It's still considered an active scene. So if you look behind me, you'll still see some of that caution tape, that please do not cross tape. And police say that if you live near 6th and Monroe or Jackson to 6th and 2nd Street, you're going to want to find an alternative route home. So if you live in those neighborhoods, there's going to be police checks because officers say this is a large investigation. And they also confirmed that the public is not in any danger. The suspect has been apprehended. But there is a huge police presence here. I mean, earlier we definitely saw Ogden Police Department, Weber County Sheriff, Roy Police. There was also a SWAT team here. So I spoke to a couple of neighbors and they said that this is totally unexpected for this neighborhood. It's usually really quiet. And like I said, it's still quiet right now. It pretty much has died out over here. But we are definitely keeping that officer who has passed in our thoughts, and we are definitely going to anticipate a really sad funeral. Especially with everything that's been going on in the news with law enforcement lately. So we're going to be continuing to update you as we gather more information. We still don't have that much anymore, but like I said, you keep watching us, we'll be here for you. Reporting in Ogden, I'm Jordan Verdadero, ABC4 News.
All right, thank you, Jordan, for that update from the scene as we still await this news conference from Ogden Police Chief Randy Watt with the details of what transpired today. Just to recap, an officer-involved shooting in the 300 block of Jackson Avenue in the city of Ogden has left one officer dead. That is confirmed by the Utah Fraternal Order of Police.
Now, of course, such a task right now for Police Chief Randy Watt, having to come to the podium to tell all of us about what has happened there in his city, and also in the background to help a family mourn the loss of a police officer, and then also to allow and help his police officers in his department mourn one of their own as well. So obviously, while we were anticipating this update to happen about 10 minutes ago, the chief here has such a heavy load that he is carrying as well to make sure to get every detail correct, and then also to support and help to carry all of those that he works with. Obviously a very stressful time just because of the pandemic that we all are dealing with, and then to add on top of that, to lose one of their own police officers and to deal with this is definitely something that they are going to have to deal with now, and obviously is part of the reason why it is taking so much time for him to get there to give us that update.
Of course, Chief Watt's priorities at this time are taking care of the people in his department and the family of that fallen officer as we take a live look inside the Ogden Police Department headquarters, where we are anticipating hearing remarks from Chief Watt in any moment now. They said 3:45. We know from experience these things rarely start on time, but that's what we're looking at now. You can see the very somber faces of law enforcement officers and police department civilian personnel as they await this announcement also. And Emily, you touched on it. I mean, you said that they did sign up for this, getting to know a lot of different officers throughout this state who work for different agencies through a series I do for ABC4 News called Behind the Badge. You really get to know these officers, these men and women that serve and protect as people and not just a uniform or a badge. People with, families, loved ones, hobbies, interests, personalities, jokes, and stories. And that's what I try to collect and portray Tuesday nights at 10 o'clock through Behind the Badge. But just getting to know these officers like I have, and then something like this happening, it really does hit you in the gut on a day like this.
Most certainly. And Rick, those stories are always so inspiring that you put together to show the people behind the badge. And while they do have a very important job that requires so much of them, as you said, each of them just a person with different aspirations and goals and people that are supporting them. And of course, as we learn more about this officer that died today, we will probably learn more about their family and the people that love them and support them who have lost a person today. So you can see there are a lot of people just standing and waiting for this update. Unfortunately, because they are wearing masks, as we all are supposed to do, we can't see exactly the faces, so the smiles behind, or the smiles behind that mask, which obviously mourning right now, but they are following the protocols, following the rules, and now we are just waiting to get more on this police officer that was shot and killed today, just after noon, in the city of Ogden.
And one common theme that emerges while speaking to these men and women of law enforcement is you really never know what the next call is going to hold in store for you. Some of the most dangerous situations they find themselves in start out as routine calls where they're just going to a house to follow up on an investigation or maybe check out a noise complaint or something, and then everything can seem fine and then turn very deadly and dangerous in a matter of moments. And unfortunately, it sounds like that's what happened with this call on Jackson Avenue around 12:14 this afternoon.
Exactly. Now that we are approaching the 4 o'clock hour, let's recap for those of you who are just joining us now, as this is normally the time that we come on for ABC4 News at 4 o'clock. There has been an officer-involved shooting in the city of Ogden. The calls first came in around 12:14 today of an officer down, and as the day has transpired, we have learned that an officer was shot and killed today following that officer-involved shooting.
We are still awaiting for the announcement of his or her name, and we'll learn much more about that officer when Chief Randy Watt joins us, hopefully in the next few minutes now, with an update. Neighbors in the area reported hearing a number of gunshots near the intersection of Jackson Avenue and Harrop Street. That's a residential street that's located just south of 2nd Avenue in Ogden between Monroe and Washington. After those gunshots, a massive police response, including officers, dozens of them from numerous agencies showing up, and then a armored vehicle, at least one, and a mobile command unit showing up, giving us our first indication that this was going to turn out to be a major incident. ABC4's Jordan Verdadero is still at the scene. She has spoken to some people who live in that neighborhood and joins us live with what they experienced this afternoon. Jordan?
Rick, Emily, I'm on the corner of 3rd and Jackson right now, and yeah, I did speak to some neighbors, and they told me this is really unlikely for this neighborhood. It's usually super quiet here. She said that she heard about 20 gunshots. At first she thought it was some people working outside, and then she found out that 20 gunshots later, that there was something more serious going on in this neighborhood. And Ogden Police Department confirmed that this is still an active scene. So they're asking people to stay inside. And if you live near 6th Street, Monroe, or Jackson, 2nd Street, you're going to want to find an alternative route, okay? So if you live in these neighborhoods, there will be police checkpoints. Police might ask you, do you live in this neighborhood? What are you doing around here? And officers did confirm that the public is not in any danger. But there is a huge police presence here still. Weber County Sheriff was here, Ogden Police Department, Roy Police was here, as well as a SWAT team. And like I said, the neighbors say this is really unusual for this neighborhood. It's usually really quiet.
Jordan Verdadero reporting for us live there. And I do want to reemphasize something that Jordan did point out. Police have said that the incident is over and that people who live in that area are no longer in harm's way. Jordan, one quick question for you. What's the mood like for the police officers there? Obviously, such a heavy load for them right now that they've learned that one of their own has died today.
You can tell it's definitely a very sad situation. The faces of these officers are very grim, very serious. I've noticed they've been constantly checking their phones, checking social media, and that's the last thing you ever want to find out is one of your coworkers or one of your loved ones has passed away from social media. So we had to really make sure that we got that confirmed, and once we did, that's when we went ahead and tweeted that information out to you guys. But very sad here with the police officers.
The focus now turns to the investigation, and this sounds like it's going to be a pretty major deal in that neighborhood. At first, there was a shelter-in-place order issued when the incident was still unfolding before that suspect or suspects were actually taken into custody. Now, police are saying, please stay inside because they don't want you to interfere with the investigation, perhaps tamper any evidence, be it a shell casing or clothing or anything like that, that could be in a yard or a sidewalk or the streets there. And they gave a pretty large perimeter of that area from 6th all the way to 2nd. As you see a map right there, that red marker in the middle of your screen is the location of this incident on the 300 block of Jackson Avenue near the intersection of Harrop Street.
Which is just such a big scope and so many people being impacted by this situation today. There was an alert that went out to cell phones which were registered in that area about 2:30, giving that shelter-in-place order. So even if you weren't at home, a lot of cell phones across northern Utah being alerted to the situation unfolding there in that area. And as Rick mentioned, people are being asked to kind of leave the area clear because since an officer was involved in this situation, and we know that at least one officer has died, the investigation part of this will just be so important to get every single little bit of evidence. Any investigation is important, but when it involves an officer, it takes it to just a bit of a higher level to make sure that if they need to prove anything, they will have the evidence ready to do so. We are hoping that when we do hear from Police Chief Randy Watt any moment now, we may learn something about the suspect involved in this situation. Again, we have been told that the incident is over. We don't know where that suspect is or what has happened to them, but we do know that the threat to the public in that area, that portion of Ogden, is under control. So while there is no good news in this situation, that is one spot of some relief to know that there is no more concern that what has transpired could continue in any fashion.
A little bit after 2 o'clock, an officer came on with a brief update. A couple of things stood out from his comments. He said that officers would be there and processing that scene for at least 24 hours. So that's an excessive amount of time to anticipate officers would be there investigating what you would call a typical shooting. Another thing he mentioned is all residents should stay indoors and not go out, not because of any lingering threat, just because they want to preserve all the evidence there. He said if any residents had an emergency and needed to leave their homes in that area to call the police department, they would send someone over and actually escort them to where they needed to go. They are that serious about people not going out and being on the streets in that area. I know they have a number of streets blocked off and another number of feeder streets blocked off, so people can't even access that area.
Okay, Police Chief Randy Watt now coming to the podium to update us on the officer-involved shooting that happened today in Ogden. Let's go there live.
Thank you for being here with us today. It's a sad day for our department, our city, and the greater Ogden, Weber County community. I would like to thank Mayor Mike Caldwell, CAO Mark Johnson, along with several members of the Ogden City Council and other distinguished persons for being here with us as our support base. We greatly appreciate it. I'd also like to thank the many members, administration of the various departments and agencies who have not only supporting us here at this time, but whose officers responded to the call for assistance and rolled to the sound of the guns. Please bear with me. I'm going to provide you some information on the event, but I will not be releasing the deceased officer's name at this time. I'm going to give the family some time to grieve and come to grips with their loss before disseminating that information to the greater public. I will also not be releasing the name of the deceased criminal. I will not be taking questions at this time. We'll plan another conference in a day or so when we have more accurate details and information available that we feel comfortable sharing. In the Epistle of John, chapter 25, verse 13, the Savior states, "Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends." That is exactly what happened today. a fine young officer with just 15 months on the job, was struck by gunfire and killed, protecting a family, our community, and fellow officers around him. At approximately 12:15 p.m. today, officers of the Ogden Police Department were dispatched to a home in northeast Ogden on a domestic violence call. A female had contacted 911 reporting that her husband was threatening to kill her. The call was disconnected without further information, and attempts to reconnect were unsuccessful. When officers arrived on the scene, they were confronted by a male in the area of the front porch. He was uncooperative and suddenly retreated into the home, slamming the door behind him. As officers moved quickly to the door to attempt to follow, the suspect began firing through the door. The Ogden officer was struck by a fatal round and was dragged from the scene by other officers. The officer was taken to McCady Hospital's emergency room, where he was pronounced dead. An adult probation parole officer who was on the scene of the initial call was also struck by gunfire, has been treated at the hospital, and is recovering from non-life-threatening wounds. Officers on the scene returned fire as the wounded officers were being dragged from the scene. Once the scene was secured by additional responding officers from many agencies, the Ogden Metro SWAT team took over the call and were successful in extracting some children from the house. Subsequent actions on their part determined that the suspect was deceased inside the residence. I'm sorry I can't say more at this time. Too much is still uncertain, and the investigation will take a few more days to be completed. Again, please bear with us in this time. We'll be more forthcoming once this intensive homicide investigation has been completed. Our hearts are broken. We've lost one of our own. The days to come will be hectic for us. Please, as a department, as a community, as a state, and as a nation, let us not forget such fine men and women who every day offer their lives up on behalf of this great and noble calling. Thank you.
Wow. Such a situation there. Again, we have learned the officer involved in the shooting today did pass away. A second officer was also shot, but he has survived from his wounds and has already been released from the hospital. The chief telling us he would not be releasing the name of that officer today, nor the name of the suspect, who we have learned is deceased.
The chief wants to give the family of that officer time to grieve and process this information. He did say that that male officer had just been on the job for 15 months. A little bit of quick math tells it probably hired around February of the year 2019, and just a terrible, horrible loss for that department, that community, and really the entire state and nation at this point.
Well, and you could see there the chief being surrounded by city leaders, county leaders, so definitely already being carried and buoyed up by the community to let them know that we are in this together, and that police department is definitely not alone as they face the days, weeks, and months ahead.
And that officer responding to a domestic call in the 300 block of Jackson Avenue, and apparently gave his life in the line of duty to protect a woman and some children who were inside that house. As we heard the chief say, another officer from what they call AP&P, Adult Probation and Parole, was wounded, treated, and released. The suspect was found deceased inside that home as officers returned fire, as some very heroic other officers at the scene dragged away those two wounded officers while returning fire through that door.
Such a scary situation.
Well, the homes near Jackson Avenue and Harrop Street were immediately placed on lockdown after this shooting. Police asking people to stay inside their homes while they continue their investigation.
Let's go back live now to ABC4's Jordan Verdadero. She spoke to people in that area who actually heard those gunshots and are now dealing with what happened near their homes. She's joining us live. Jordan?
Emily, Rick, yeah, like you guys mentioned, this was a very emotional time for the chief. I mean, The criminal is dead. The officer has also died, and like you guys said, he was only on the job for 15 months. After getting the call for this domestic violence case, that wife sounded like she needed some protection. She had kids in the house, and these officers were completely being heroes at this time by what the chief said. And yes, I did talk to neighbors. They said this is super unlikely for this neighborhood. There's a lot of elderly people that live in this neighborhood. It's usually very quiet, and she says this was very unexpected.
It was just surprising to hear that something like this would happen in our neighborhood. I mean, we occasionally do get, just the cops coming out doing the routine checkout, but this is just really scary for a lot of people.
Now, if you live in the area, so that's near 6th and Monroe or Jackson to 6th Street, 2nd Street in Ogden, you're going to want to find another way home because there will be police checks over here as well. So if you do live in these neighborhoods, police will probably stop you, just ask you where you're going, do you live around here? And officers have confirmed that the public is no longer in danger. Like we said earlier, that person is dead and apprehended. So there was a huge police presence here. We do still have Ogden Police Department. That's all we really see right now. But we'll continue to update you as we gather more information. And we definitely want to make sure that prayers go out to these officers' families. Reporting in Ogden, Jordan Verdadero, ABC4 News.
Okay, ABC4's Jordan Verdadero been there throughout the day since this all began to unfold. We, of course, will continue to follow this tragic story. A member of the Ogden City Police Department killed today in the line of duty. Stay with us for the very latest, both here on air and online at abc4.com.